Ubisoft comes at us with a ferocious new standalone DLC named Blood Dragon. With neon lights in the sky, brutal action on the ground, and 1980s humor all around, by the time you're done with this DLC, all you'll have left to say is, I'll be back. The year is 2007. Earth has been destroyed by nuclear war and the human race is trying to find a new and more peaceful path. Unfortunately, a man by the name of Sloan kind of doesn't want that to happen. He himself wants to nuke more places and cause more destruction and mayhem for the cyborg race to be a stronger one. You play Rex Power Colt, a man half human, half cyborg that's ready to really kick some ass. You know, voiced by Michael Biehn, which is completely awesome. The character is extreme 1980s, and there's just so much packed in from the action movies of that time. The story follows him as he's on a standalone island that is not one of the similar islands from the Far Cry 3 universe. It's an entirely new map. And as you go, there are plenty of new things to explore. Lots of garrisons instead of the forts that you could take in the Far Cry 3. You have a couple of collection quests to find VHSs, a bunch of TVs, and some reports that will all collect and add to achievements. As you go, you will also encounter plenty of new weird creatures that have pretty much been reskinned, but they have more of a kind of newer neon, just twisted kind of look, which makes them really cool. And then finally, the biggest addition that they added to it, dragons. You heard me right, dragons. Honestly, these dragons have got to be probably one of the best, but honestly, one of the worst parts of the game, and I'll get to that when I get to it. But focusing on the story, as you go through it, your whole point of it is pretty much to throw Sloan out of power and stop him from obviously destroying the whole human race and everything that's on it. As you go through, you have seven missions to complete, which are all very varied, like different. And it's just, honestly, every mission is memorable. From going to exploding a dam, to going into a breeding facility and roasting some dino eggs. It's all great, it's all fascinating, and I loved every minute of it. Going on to gameplay, a lot of the things have been changed up. Say, for instance, with Far Cry 3 with the sniper. I used to be a man that liked to put my silence on the sniper, take it from far away, and just pick off everybody that was there. They've kind of taken that in a different approach. Instead of silencing it, they've added explosive rounds onto it so you can pretty much explode people from miles away. Along with other guns where you could equip lasers and shotguns where you can add on 4 barrels. They've really gone over the top. As well as every single reload function is just hilarious in its entirety. You know, you take your shotgun and you flick the bullets into the holster. With the gun you flip it around and you sock it in. It's really hilarious gameplay just for the gun mechanics, and I really like the different varieties as well as the look of a lot of the new guns, especially the bow. You know, it's this neon awesome purple bow that is just like the other bow, but it just looks so much more badass. They did a fantastic job at reskinning the whole thing. Another part of the gameplay function is, while you can still do all your normal melee attacks, if you're not directly engaged in an enemy confrontation, what you can do is actually flip off like anybody. You just press the button that would be the melee and you see his middle finger go up, which is really hilarious. And I mean, like, why haven't they added this to any other game? Like, it would be such a great and funny part of it, and it's really not that much to add in. So, you know, good props to you, Blood Dragon and Ubisoft, for adding that in. Going back to the game, more parts of the gameplay, It's fairly similar. A lot of the mechanics are similar to the Far Cry 3 universe, and it's by the time you get to level 30, it's honestly, you feel like that badass cyborg. While you still have a lot of the really cool stuff at the start, which I absolutely love, because a lot of the things in Far Cry 3 that you couldn't do, you can do in Blood Dragon. You have unlimited ability to sprint, you will take no fall damage, and you have unlimited breath, which really means you can just sprint, jump over mountains, and really just get to wherever you want to go as how you want to go, and you feel no limitations. And even so, even with all these new abilities, by the time you do get to level 30, you're actually, it feels like you're actually better, which is good because you feel a lot more fluid, a lot more of a better killing machine. Okay, going to the biggest part of the combat would have to be the dragons. A lot of my cons would have to, like I said, would have to be with the dragons, but a lot of my pros have to be with the dragons. The first thing is the dragons are absolutely badass. Like, I'm talking, when I see these things, I just have to stand there and look in awe at how cool these things look. Another thing that I really like about it is the color coding system. When they're not in a bloodthirsty frenzy that they're gonna come at you and shoot lasers, they have like a blue vein coating on, but as they become more aware and become more lethal, it'll go from blue/green to yellow and then to red when they're freaking coming after you, shooting lasers, and honestly, you're terrified out of your ass, especially at the start when you don't know how to kill them and every bullet just takes away a tiny bit of their health and you're just like, why can't I kill these guys? But seriously, when you get to a point where you can kill them and everything, their weak point is on the stomach, just a hint, you know, hint, hint, not nudge. I had a couple of problems, namely with when I was trying to get away, because like if you take a couple of hits from these guys, you're pretty much down and dead. You know, when I was trying to get away, even when I just backed up and there was maybe this much space or something like that, you know, plenty of space that his arms, if you were to swipe, or his teeth when he chomped, you know, they should have missed, but they didn't, and the only way I could fully be able to dodge is if I'd had to turn tail and run like another direction, which honestly I thought was pretty bad with the hitboxing. Another thing was I encountered a few glitches with the dragons. When you would kill them, I would get a brief flash of them completely fine, and then they'd explode. And it's just like, it's not a huge thing or anything like that, it's just, you know, glitches that they could improve on. Just to briefly talk about a few other things that were on my mind about how great this game was the soundtrack. It really put you in the place of where it was, and it was a fantastic form of a 1980s retro-esque theme, and it really puts you in the place of that character. Another thing I really liked about it was Michael Biehn in general. He is a hilarious actor and really just added everything that you could say about the game. It's just, he plays the part really well. You know, every time you do a kill with like a different weapon, you know, you'll hear him say a different pun or something like that, and it's just really funny. Another thing I really liked about the game was the starting screen and everything, all of it being like played off of a VHS, as well as just the title screen with how beautiful it looks. You know, just the ominous music that builds up and everything. It was really awesomely well done. Another thing I really liked was the cutscenes. Just having like the little panels that you'd have at the top or at the side to show what was happening. You know, it's just everything that adds to the game, and there's just really so much that I could go over, and there's just so much good about the game. But let's go to a few of the things that are bad about the game. At the start of it, everything about the game is great up to a certain point. Once you beat the final mission and you've gone through and you've collected all the things and you've done all the garrisons, but you haven't done the achievement to, say, kill the 25 dragons or get all the weapon attachments, you're going to be spending about an hour or so running around, finding little pockets of people that are fighting, going up, assassinating them or whatever, taking their money, and then hoping to find a blood dragon. And it can get a little tedious at times. But it's really minuscule compared to just how much the game is. Overall, the game took me around 6 to 6.5 hours to beat it all and collect everything. And it's around on Xbox Live for 1,200 Microsoft points, which is a pretty fair price, I'd say. You know, it's really worth it, and I'd really suggest it for anybody to play it. So overall, I'll give this game a 9 out of 10. Fantastic job. I'd like to see a little bit more, maybe a few more missions, or maybe a spin-off because of that ending, which I'm not going to hint at. Well, I'm not going to say anything else about, but they could make a sequel if they choose to, which would be awesome, and I'd love to play it. For everything else, please keep it locked in here. I love all your faces, and as we do in Canada, stay frosty!